The Geek Speak Show is produced and distributed by 22 Creations Multimedia, LLC.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Welcome to one of the longest-running geek culture talk shows. Welcome to the Geek Speak Show with Henry San Miguel and the nerdy Navajo Shanclen. And introducing Emily Mata. The Geek Speak Show has been speaking geek since 2010. This is the Geek Speak Show.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Geek Speak Show. Okay, so now you have your first look at brand new day. Are you all happy now? I know, now you want the Doomsday teaser. Well, there's still going to be a little bit of a wait for that one. Do I know anything? Maybe. I'll just give you 4 letters. S, D, C, C. You'll figure it out. Today we're going to be doing a kind of episode. We means me, of course, obviously I'm here, but also the nerdy Navajo. Oh, almost not so young warrior.
Oh man, you just really got to throw out my age on there, that one. My back just started hurting when you said that. But good evening, Henry. Good evening.
Welcome to my world. My knees, my back, my eyes, my everything hurts, and that's just trying to get out of bed. But yeah, it's just gonna be the two of us as we're getting ready for WonderCon next week. A lot of the guests that are going to be there, I invited them to come on the show, and you'll hear some of them next week on the Warm Up the WonderCon episode. But as you can imagine, just like as everybody's getting busy, they're either packing if they have to travel here, or if they're already here in California, they're getting the booths or whatever they're bringing to WonderCon ready. So everybody's, most of them, they're not available to do a show. That's fine. That's okay. Oh, and by the way, Emily Mata, our new co-host, she's not here either because you know how she always goes to events on the weekends? She caught a little bit of crud out of one of them, so she kind of sounds like me a little bit. You know, when I have to clear my throat. She has a little bit of that, so she's resting her voice for WonderCon next week because she'll be on the show and she'll also be tabling, so she's gonna need it. So it's just gonna be the two of us. I could sing the song, just the two of us. So because it's just the two of us, thought we would have a fun show, but also at the same time to kill 2 birds with 1 phaser. And that's a little tease there. I'm going to give you a taste of what later in the year, what the Star Trek anniversary show, when we get to the Star Trek 60th anniversary in September, what that's going to sound like. I'm going to play back from, I think it was season 4, back in 2013, when we did the Psychology of Star Trek versus Star Wars episode. Not the whole thing, just one segment. I've always explained to you how I see Star Trek and Star Wars. So this is where that statement came from. So we'll hear that. And then, we haven't done it in a while. When we come back, after hearing that segment, I'm going to turn not the cameras, but the microphones on Shanclen, and we'll see how he's doing. How is he with his Star Trek challenge? And if you don't know what that is, I'll remind you what that is. But all of that right after this segment. Here, for you regulars, this will be a repeat, but we're, again, not the whole thing, just the first segment. But this is from back in 2013, season 4. This is when the Psychology of Star Trek versus Star Wars, that was a panel that was a fan favorite at both WonderCon and Comic-Con, and 2 actual psychologists, Dr. Ali Matu and Dr. Drea Letamendi. They would invite experts from both franchises, and they would have a funny, a lot of times enlightening conversation about the 2 franchises. Now, we did that here on the show back in season 4. My co-host at the time was Rachel Rossilli. A lot of you remember she was a huge lifelong Star Wars fan. And her and Dr. Drea Letamendi, they made up Team Wars. Now, I invited Dr. Ali Matu, but like I said, he is a real doctor, so he couldn't fit it into his schedule during the week. So instead, I could have gone solo, but I said, you know what? I'm going to bring a secret weapon. I brought the most appropriate person to be my teammate for Team Trek, Rod Roddenbery, Gene Roddenberry's son, and my good friend since the show's first season. You're about to hear the first few topics, and then it'll wrap up with Drea's statement that, like I said, to this day, and I've explained it to Shanclen, I can tell you, Rachel, Rod, myself, we still use it when I'm talking about Star Trek and Star Wars. So, Shanclen and everybody else, sit back, enjoy this segment. Then we'll update everyone on where Shanclen is on his Star Trek challenge. But first, the psychology of Star Trek versus Star Wars.
Yeah, and give it to...
I definitely think there were
Rodden.
better people to get, at least when it comes to me, as far as defending these shows, because I like them both, but we'll see how this comes out.
Yeah, so without further adu's, let's get into it. So the first one is which of the universes has the better villains?
Go ahead, Rod. Tell us what you think.
No, it depends on, there's the two main differences between Star Trek. Well, there's many, but at least when it comes to villains, there's black and white villains. There's just the bad guy. There's evil, using the dark side of the Force. But then there can also be the bad guy that you empathize with. I keep going from, let's just say Vader, who I will admit in Jedi, there was good within him. So I don't want to make him just black and white, but he was pretty much just evil. I'm going to jump to the Horda, which I'm not saying is my number one villain, but the Horda, in the end, you learn it's a mother protecting its young. So it starts off as the bad guy or the evil thing. But then you realize the devil in the dark was not the Horda. The devil in the dark was humanity. We were the ones that were attacking this thing without trying to understand what it was. And once we did that, we realized that we really weren't that different in terms of what we would do to protect our children. So best villains, I will definitely say, not because my father created it, but I will say Star Trek because there's countless episodes and countless shows where there is depth. There are many dimensions to the bad guy. Q really wasn't that bad of a guy necessarily.
I have to agree with Rod in the sense that the best villains are the ones that actually show elements of humanity. And this actually was a topic. Villains was one of the biggest topics from the panel. And I do have to say, just, full disclosure, that I know that there have been a lot of these sort of, Star Wars versus Star Trek battles where they go into the physics or astronomy or, various technologies. When it comes down to the psychology, when it comes down to comparing the psychological science of both franchises, they both actually do a really fantastic job of creating these really dynamic, very complex characters when it comes to villains. I would actually say, now we know that in Jedi, of course, Anakin Skywalker, aka Darth Vader, for the most part in the original trilogy sort of represents, he's all in black, he's masked, he represents this, this terrifying, just like Rachel was saying before the show, this horrific, terrifying villain. But I will mention that what the prequels gave us was this, developmental psychological backstory that tells us that actually this guy was born fairly kind and okay. He was, we see him as a kid and we see him growing up, and what made him into a villain was actually all this adversity, traumatic stressors, loss, death of people close to him. He lived in a world where it was unsafe. He lived in a world that was, to him, horrifying and terrifying and evil. And so he turned into this, this character that embodied that. And so I will say Star Wars because, once you give us that backstory, then you see that there is this dynamic villain that does represent a realistic trajectory, a realistic development of evil.
Rachel, you want to jump in?
Yeah. Okay. So you guys went one side of that and a little deeper and whatever. I'm going to go a little bit more into the present day stuff. So the villains in both sides, both of them have pretty good ones. But all I have to do to make wars win is say Boba Fett. We have bounty hunters, and we have Darth Vader and Darth Maul and Admiral Thrawn. And if you go to any convention, even if it's the Big Wow Comic Fest that was just happening this weekend, there are so many Star Wars villains, more than there are anything else, I think, that people are dressing up as, that have the shirts as, that they say, this is my favorite. So if we're talking about better villains, we win.
I'll say
we have
cooler
so many.
villains. Star Wars definitely has much cooler villains.
Better
I will
outfits.
give that. Yeah, absolutely. Darth Maul was a badass. There's not a single villain in Star Trek that I can think of that I would say is badass. So it really depends on which direction
Definition.
you're coming at this from. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, I'm gonna go out with Rod, not just because he's on my team, but because I've always liked the Star Trek villains because of that. They've always had some sort of twist in them, and sometimes it makes us look at ourselves. Because like Rod said with the Devil in the Dark episode, it forces us to look at us. Like what are we doing wrong? We right away, just because we don't understand it or because it looks like a monster, it has to be bad, evil. But the reality is, like Rod said, it's only a mother protecting its young. And there's a lot of instances. Next Generation did that also. Voyager, not so much. It tried to, but that's the beauty of the Star Trek episodes, and not so much into the movies because you know they're different. But even Khan a little bit. You know, if you look at it from his point of view, the original Khan, not the new one, there was a reason for his wrath. There was a reason for him hating Kirk so much, and it's because to him, you know, he's protecting the people that he cared the most. He blamed them for the death of his wife and all of that. So it's a little deeper. The Star Trek villains go a little bit deeper, but you know, for coolness, yeah, I'll give it to you, Rachel. Star Wars has the coolest ones. So,
All right. So up next we have which universe has the better selection of weapons?
Oh.
So now that came from Rachel, and I gotta say, I think it's unfair because when we hear that, how can you be cooler than that?
That's the lightsaber though. I mean, I'm trying to look at this objectively. The lightsaber is probably the most known weapon. I'd say even more than a phaser. But that's a really good question.
Well,
I was going to say, I'm thinking large scale. I'm thinking the biggest weapon there is, which is the Death Star. Now, we know that, Genesis can destroy planets or can both destroy and create planets,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
which is kind of, I have to say, maybe the superior weapon is the one that can both destroy and create planets. But I don't know that you can top the Death Star.
It's time saving too. Create and destroy at the same time.
Well, and it's better selection. So overall, so you can pull from everything.
Yeah, well,
what? Let's name them. It's a good question. I don't know what Star Wars has. The Death Star. It has the lightsaber. It's got the gun, laser gun. What else is there?
For Star Wars, the lightsabers. They have the what is it called, Rachel? The Tusken Raiders. The gaffy stick, I think it is called.
Yep, the gaffy stick. That's right. You have all sorts of different blasters and put together weapons from all of the bounty hunters.
Can we technically say the Rancor is a weapon because Jabba kind of used them like a weapon?
I think that's fair. I will take that one.
Okay.
I would also include, the astromech, any R2,
Electrical
droid.
shock.
Yeah, any kind of like Swiss Army version of having various weaponry.
And if we're going to use the Rancor, then we also have to use the Wookiee because,
Yes.
Let the Wookiee win.
Yeah, now we're going a little too far. What does Star Trek have? We have the Phaser 1. We have the Phaser 2. I mean, they're both little phasers, I guess. Of course, we have the ships with photon torpedoes, and they're multiple sorts of different kinds of lasers. What else do we have in Star Trek?
You can put the phaser to overload and use it as a bomb.
Well, we can definitely keep going down that road. I don't know if self-destruct counts either, but now we're going to go a little crazy. Data is, I wouldn't call him a weapon, but I don't know. I would go with a draw on this one, but...
oh, wait, you forgot one. Vulcan Death Pinch.
Yeah,
there you go.
That counts.
We might have to refine the question on this one just to give us some stronger parameters.
Okay, let me ask it like this. Which weapon from either universe would you rather own?
Oh.
Well, I already own 10 lightsabers.
Well, I was going to say not a prop. I mean, an actual functioning weapon.
Oh, you're right. A lightsaber you could use to cut bread and cheese and to cut and toast it at the same time. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I was going to say, we should say before you guys answer. No, before you guys answer, we should say this is just imagination. We wouldn't actually use the weapons for anything.
Although I might stun you, Henry, every once in a while if I had a phaser.
I like, you know what? I'm going to go with the phaser because you just said it. The fact that you can just stun people I'm not just trying to be humane about it, but it would be fun at parties. It would be, it would be awesome. Just a light stun.
Yeah, I have to agree. I'm sorry I'm crossing over to the other side, but that would be, I think, more convenient than a double-sided lightsaber is a little bit cumbersome to carry around.
There'd be accidents all over the place.
Exactly.
Well, just think, if you're in the car and you break out your lightsaber, you don't realize that it's like longer than the roof, and it puts a hole in the roof of your car. It's like just inconvenient at times.
Instant sunroof.
Yeah.
See, I'm still going to have to go with the saber, though, because I would, of course, practice and be a master at it, and then no one could really stop me. It'd be awesome.
Practice makes perfect. Till you go up against Drea and I. Dark side is always better. You know that. Like Rob said,
Henry, what about you?
What's that?
Which one are you picking?
I'm gonna go with the lightsaber too, but double-bladed lightsaber, specifically.
Okay. I know I would just hurt myself with one of those. That's all.
Okay, so there's the weapons. Now, which universe has the better vehicles?
Wait, so do you mean vehicles or aircraft or spacecraft?
I don't know. That's a Rachel question. What do you mean specifically?
Well, I was going to leave it open to what we wanted to do. Generally, we go with spacecraft, and then if there's a regular vehicle that we wanted to throw in for extra points here and there, we could do that.
Yeah, because Star Trek doesn't really have land speeders. We have shuttlecraft, but that's about it.
Right. So we're going to go with spacecraft specifically, and then we can add in if we needed to.
Well, if you saw the new movie, I might jump in and say Star Trek, just because I feel like in the new movie there were cars, there were planes, there were cargo things. There's so many flying, hovering crafts in Star Trek now. But, I just can't recall everything in Star Wars.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of looked like Coruscant at the end of Into Darkness, that thing they were jumping on. Yeah, but with Star Trek, you really only have the Enterprise and the rest of the ships and the shuttlecraft, and that's it. And
I don't mean to defend the other side here, but I mean, the Enterprise is a pretty legit ship, so
yeah.
They have an entire Starfleet. They've got tons of ships. It sounds like I'm just defending Star Trek. I guess it's just because I've seen the movie recently. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Trying to think about Star Wars. Star Wars has, unless you read the fan fiction and the books and the comics, if you've only seen, well, we'll call it the 6 movies, but if you've only seen the 6 movies, you've got a limited pool to some degree.
Yeah.
Oh, they did have that really cool silver ship. Actually, what's the one that the princess had in the first movie?
The Naboo Royal Starship.
That was a pretty badass looking ship.
And you can fix your makeup on it too.
The Jedi Starfighters are actually really awesome too. So if you go into all the different ones that they have, and even if you look at Episode 1, if we're talking about that, you have some droid ships that are pretty cool too.
No, you're right. You're right.
I don't want to sway the audience, but I think we're going to give it to Star Wars on this one, because all 4 of us, I think we can agree. How many of us would love to ride a speeder bike?
That's pretty cool.
I want to drive the Millennium Falcon.
Although, Rod, in LA traffic, I don't think we can actually do that, ride the speeder bike.
Yeah, right.
I was going to jump in and say the Sith speeder, Darth Maul's Sith speeder is a favorite of mine.
Yeah, speaking of LA traffic, just blow it out of the way. Get out of the way.
Exactly.
Okay, so again, didn't mean to sway you guys on that one, but there it is. So the next one is which of the two franchises, which one has had the biggest influence on humanity as a whole?
Oh, come on.
Oh.
Well, what sort of influence, though? Is this people dressing up in costume, or are you talking about positive impact?
Yeah, again, Rachel, that's one of yours.
Well, hey, so what I was basing this on was how many people say, Trek is my favorite show, favorite thing, or Wars is my favorite thing, or I own a bunch of stuff because I love it, or I went into film because of this, or things like that, influencing people's lives.
Yeah,
well, actually, Rod, not to interrupt you guys, but Rod, your dad and you actually have pretty good stories from astronauts about Star Trek. So you want to talk about that?
Oh.
Here's the difficulty I have with this question, is that if the question is how many people know about one of these things and are entertained by it and may own a prop or a costume or may go to conventions. I might actually give it to Star Wars because I think Star Wars has a larger reach than Star Trek in terms of all the kids out there, in terms of all the adults, all the people who saw it in the 70s or late whatever, 79. What was the first one? 79? Whatever.
77.
77. So I would almost give it, I'd say Star Wars has the largest reach, has the largest impact in terms of people knowing about it and thinking it's a cool movie. Star Trek, I think, has the deepest impact. I think that's the one that has, touched the lives and has influenced people to believe themselves and become things that they never thought they could. I'm not saying that's the only thing Star Trek does. Star Trek can just be entertaining as well. But, it's amazing how many people I've met from all over the world who have come up to me and said that Star Trek inspired me to do this or that, whether it's overcoming a handicap or seeing through a handicap or becoming an astronaut. The stories, I don't want to say that's impossible with Star Wars, but I've never heard that with Star Wars. So I'll definitely give that side of it to Star Trek.
Same
Yeah,
here.
I absolutely agree in the sense that it depends on what you mean by the impact. As far as a scientific impact, I think that Star Trek, definitely, takes that. As far as sort of numbers goes or fandom goes, I do feel like I run into more people that like Star Wars more. But it has to, I think that has to do with a lot of things. They're not, this goes back to the fundamental problem with comparing these two things just on a basic level, that in my mind, they represent, two different things when it comes to the impact on us or the impact on humanity. That I always felt like Star Wars was this, I always say Star Trek is about social psychology. Star Trek is about societies and worlds and how they work together. And we should be mindful of these things. Whereas Star Wars is sort of like the individual psychology. What is one person capable of? Thinking of Luke Skywalker or Anakin Skywalker, or, any of these characters, that it really has to do with the individual psychology. And that can be particularly inspiring, which is why I think that sort of builds fans who doesn't want to hold a lightsaber and say that they can save the galaxy. Whereas, again, Star Trek has this more, I guess, public impact about, sort of forcing us to think about humanity and think about our future and think about how, sort of like Rod said, deeper issues that may be more realistic issues that is less of an escapism, I would say, than Star Wars is.
Star Trek is I want to let the rest of you talk, but I think Star Trek really is, that could be a future for us.
Right.
Some of us might be more pessimistic about who we are and what we're doing as a species. And believe me, I have my days of that as well. But it's not so far out of the realm of possibility that we could live in a future like that. I'm not saying it has to have Starfleet. I'm just saying we could be those better people, still making plenty of mistakes, but being willing to make those mistakes and learn from them. Star Wars, I don't mean to diminish it by calling it just entertainment, but I think you did say it pretty well just now. It is entertainment. It is more of a personal psychology. But for me, and this is going to sound like I'm Gene Roddenberry's son. So for me, Star Wars is fun, entertainment. I'm not sure you can come away with too much except for I want to do the right thing. I want to do the right, whatever right is.
Absolutely, which is why I think that Star Wars helps you forget and Star Trek makes you remember. And
well said.
and you can
Well put.
You can love both of them equally because of that, that difference.
I like that line. You're going to hear me say that line some point.
Yay!
I like that. Stolen.
That is very
totally
good.
Stolen.
Drea, that should be the next t-shirt on her universe.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
We'll tell
absolutely.
Ashley. She'll love it.
So there you go. That is where that statement came from, and honestly, perfectly identifies and describes both franchises, and even explains, long before it was a thing, it even explains why I wasn't a big fan of Andor season 1. Now you know what I mean when I say it's a lot like Star Trek. That's why I wasn't. Not that it's a bad show. It's just it reminds me too much of Star Trek instead of being Star Wars. Now, Shanclen, how are you? Well, before I ask you, for those that are listening for the first time, earlier this year, as you may not know, Star Trek is celebrating its 60th anniversary later this year. Star Trek 60, as they're calling it. It's not a secret. Shanclen has said before, I've never watched Star Trek, and which is fine. He knows Star Wars, obviously. But I always kept telling, every time he talks about other movies and he loves the messages and this, and I always say, you need to watch Star Trek. You need to watch Star Trek. So the challenge you could call it what do you call those? Not preposition. What do you call it? The resolutions, not prepositions. You could call it a New Year's resolution. At the beginning of the year, I said, how about this year to celebrate and have a fun challenge for Star Trek? This be the year that you finally watch Star Trek. There's a lot of things I know, but what's turning 60 is the original series, the one with William Shatner and Spock, the one that came out in the 60s. So I'm telling him, watch that. You don't have to watch every single thing because that'll take years for him to do that. So do that. He said, yeah, let's do it. Where are you in that challenge? We're 3 months into the year. Where are you in that challenge?
So, funny thing, I actually set a specific day of when I was gonna dedicate to start watching Star Trek, and then my house caught fire. It's the universe telling me, Henry, that I'm not supposed to watch Star Trek, which is pretty crazy because of the fire, I've had to move my big old TV out of my house. And so where the big TV was, where I was going to watch a lot of the Star Trek, has no power because that whole section caught fire. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to do, because of that, I guess we're going to do a mulligan, a do-over. I'm going to change the terms of the challenge here in front of everybody. Like I said, next week is WonderCon. You're actually going to be here in my house because, otherwise, how would you be here at WonderCon? Mm-hmm. So you're going to be here. My house hasn't caught fire. Where's wood? Knock on wood. Now that I said that, I'm gonna jinx everything.
I'm gonna knock on wood for you too over here.
Make sure you do the right ceremonies this time and don't let mine catch on fire. But as you know, there is a big TV in my house. I do own Star Trek. So instead of a smoke break, how about a Trek break? See what I did there? Trademark Paramount. It's ours. I came up with it. You don't have to watch everything. We'll watch one episode. I think I'm going to stick with Trouble with Tribbles. And yeah, most of you would say, yeah, I would start with that one too. But we'll start with that. And then I don't feel like filming you. You know how most people, let me film my reaction. I don't want to do that. I want to get your reaction afterwards. Maybe during WonderCon, or we'll record a separate thing just to get your thoughts on what do you think. And it's okay, by the way. I'm telling you right now in front of everybody, all our listeners, if you don't like it, even after watching it and with me sitting there, you don't have to like Star Trek. You can say, this is boring. I don't like this. I'm still going to stick with Star Wars. That's fine. But that's how I want to change the challenge. Do you accept any terms?
I have altered the deal. Pray do not alter it any further.
Okay, you're crossing universes now, but yes.
I accept your new terms, Henry. I accept the new terms.
Then we have an accord, and we'll do that. So we'll update that next week when he's here for WonderCon. We'll see. He'll watch Star Trek for sure, and we'll see, is it for Shanclen or nah, I'll stick with Star Wars. So in a moment, we're not going to do a Nerdy Navajo news today again because you're just getting ready for WonderCon, and we really didn't feel like looking up any news or anything. And really, all you guys are talking about today is that guy swinging through New York, Spider-Man, Peter Parker. I don't know who that is. But in a moment, I do want to touch on one thing. I do want to end on a quick discussion that actually came from your live. You do a live every Monday, and I'm on that with you sometimes. And because we just had the Oscars last weekend, you talked about it. How could you not? But it turned, we were joking on the live, it turned kind of into a Geek Speak episode kind of thing. So I figured this is the Geek Speak show. Let's bring it over here. Not the entire discussion, but there is something interesting because a couple days after, I saw everybody on TikTok, on Instagram, saying the same things. It made me wonder, wait, were you all watching the lives? And if you did, how come we didn't comment? But apparently we were right. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Don't go anywhere.
The Geek Speak Show will return in a moment.
Join the nerdy Navajo Shanclen aboard two historic, iconic, and haunted ships, the RMS Queen Mary in Long Beach on Friday, April 17th, and the USS Hornet in Alameda on Friday, June 12th. And just added, the Haunted Yorktown Memorial Hospital in Yorktown, Texas on September 12th. Visit Clen Warrior SSP on Instagram for more info and to get your tickets.
Shh. The Geek Speak Show is back.
It's a nice summer song, even though it's not summer. It's just about to be spring officially. But yes, we are back to wrap it up. Like I said, this is something that came up on Shanclen's live. He does a live every Monday on his channel. If you're not following them, you should be. I have the links on everything, and I'll have him tell you at the end where you can follow him if you're not already. But he does a live show every Monday. I'm there. Coach Aves is there, another friend of his, and Shush is there. You'll actually see Shush next week at WonderCon. He'll be one of the people behind the camera. But Shanclen brought up the winners from the Oscars, mainly the ones that matter to us, which basically was just Sinners. I think Avatar won something too, and Michael B. Jordan, and the movies that we actually watched. And we were talking about that, and I mentioned a couple of the guys that we also said that I think these winners. What was the winner? The battle, the one with Leo.
One battle after another with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, you were. I don't know if you were trying to be funny or you was just genuinely curious, but you asked us, "Did you guys watch that movie?" I didn't. Did the guys I don't remember if they saw it or not. You did.
No, I was the only one that did watch it out of the group that we had.
yeah, and it's just fine. But you know, the next couple of days, I've been seeing people on everything, Instagram, TikTok, and some YouTube videos reacting to the Oscars, and a lot of them said pretty much the same thing that we were saying, that a lot of them didn't watch One Battle After Another. They watched Sinners. They had no idea. A lot of them agreed. I said on your live that I really like because I agree when Conan said there's two nominees that make it sound like sandwich meats, Hamnet and Begonia.
Begonia, yeah.
And sandwiches. What is it called? Begonia. I think I mentioned. I started to watch it because the premise, kind of fits in what we talk about here. You think it's an alien, but it's just boring. It kind of, I said on the show, kind of like TV shows. I give them 3 episodes to keep me or lose me. This one, not even 3 minutes. I was like, okay, no, I'll watch this when I can't sleep, and it'll put me to sleep. The Hamnet one, I don't even know what it's about, so I won't talk about it. And none of the other nominees, none of us watched, and that seems to be the case with everybody else. So that's what I want to bring that up here. In fact, you asked later on in your live, or I think I asked you guys, what do you look for when you think best movies? And obviously, like Coach Aves, that he brought up the Marvel movies. Bring up a Marvel movie or a DC movie. He mentioned he liked Superman from last year more than he liked Sinners, but more than the movies that were actually nominated. There was a movie actually that I was talking to my wife that we watched. I think it was from last year, but it wasn't nominated at all. It was pretty good. That was Good Luck Chuck with Tom Hiddleston. That one actually was more entertaining and more cinematic than that would have given Sinners, honestly, a run for its money, more than the battles and all the other ones that were there. But that's me. Mm-hmm. So what I want to talk about here with just us two is the reason that we see the quality of movies going down? Is it because, I can say it here because it's the audience, because they don't nominate? Since I think Lord of the Rings was the last one, but since then, Endgame, like Coach said on Monday, if any Marvel movie would have been nominated, it should have been Endgame for Best Picture. If you nominated those kind of movies, Endgame, our movies, would the quality be, would the competition actually be competition with the Best Pictures?
I think so, because forgive me if I'm wrong, do you have to pay to submit your movie to the Oscars?
I don't know if there is a fee or not. I know there are
membership or something.
I know. Well, I don't know how that works. Again, I'm not a filmmaker or an actor. That's something I've never actually talked about. I don't know if it's a secret thing and you have to be in the club. I mean, you have to be an actor or in the industry somehow. But I don't know how. I don't think so. I mean, we live in today's day and age. I don't think too many things can be kept secret anymore. I think we would know if you had to pay to be in a member of the academy. I don't know if it's you have to have a certain body of work or a certain amount of time in the industry to be. I don't even know. Like, for example, do you know how do you become a voter? How do you vote for these movies?
Yeah, like who are the people voting? Because in recent years, I have seen like a lot of criticism when it comes to the Oscars. Kind of it becoming either like I've heard rumors of people saying it's a pay to win thing. So if you pay a lot of money, you get an award. Just a theory. And then like another one was saying it's a popularity contest, and just depending on the times, like it doesn't matter if your movie was good or not. If it aligns with certain cultural practices of the year, then you're gonna win no matter what.
Yes, yes. Because I was gonna say yes, it is a popularity contest, but not the way most people are thinking right now when you said that. The way I'll describe it like this: it's an older term. Older listeners, and we do have a few that they'll understand what I mean. It's an old boys club, meaning, again, like I was saying, I don't know who's voting. I don't know how you become a member of the academy, or who are these members of this academy that have the secret ballots and only they know who wins Best Picture. A lot of them are old heads. They have been there. Mm-hmm. You know, the Academy Award. This is the 98th. In a couple of years, it's going to be a century of movies and giving out Oscars to movies. I think a lot of them are also 100, are going to be 100. They've been there from the very beginning. So that's what I mean by it's an old boys club. And you can see that they don't, you know, like kids like to say, you read the room. Look at the people that are there. I'll give you this. I don't know if you didn't bring this up in your live, but I'll bring up another thing. I don't know if you've seen this clip. I don't know if you watched the Oscars, but this clip is online. Look it up. Sigourney Weaver was there with your pal Pedro Pascal. I forget what they were presenting, but they were up there presenting, and there was a funny joke because Grogu was there. An actual Grogu was there, sitting next to Kate Hudson, and Sigourney Weaver. You know, they addressed him. Oh, he's cute, blah blah blah, and she just said, "Get away from him, you bitch." Now, I said it exactly the way she said it, the way Ripley said it in the movie. The way Sigourney Weaver delivered it on the Oscars, it was like that. It was just awkward. Now, what it told me also is, like I said, read the room. I'm sure the older people there were some few laughs. The older people, they got it, what it was. They remember Aliens is going to be 40 years old this year. So it's a 40-year-old movie. A lot of the young, like the Chase Infinity, who was a co-star on One Battle After Another. Michael B. Jordan probably knows Aliens because he's nerdy like us. He likes those movies. But other younger actors there, I'm sure they had no idea what was going on, and they probably thought there was beef with Sigourney Weaver and Kate Hudson. So it kind of fell flat. But my point to that is it's kind of representative of the Academy. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised to find out that a lot of them are all literal ancients in a secret room. I think we should give it to that Leonardo DiCaprio guy. He's good. Give it to Sean Penn. Give it to because that's all they know. They don't even know how to pronounce Timothée Chalamet or any of these new actors. They don't even know who they are. Like, who are they? What have they done? Yeah. What have they done for me? That's what I'm thinking. So this one was pretty representative of Hollywood is in a generational point right now where it's yours and the younger generations. The way you enjoy movies and entertainment isn't the way that I and like Mark Trent from Geek Off the Street and my generation enjoyed movies. I mentioned in your live, I come from a time when what today would be considered the boring movies, those are the ones that won. The Godfather, Risky Business, Rain Man, Rocky, and all of those. They would be, I think you mentioned it. I think The Rock made a movie about, was it MMA or wrestling?
Yeah, MMA.
Yeah, those are considered the boring. It wasn't even nominated, or did it come out this year or last year or the year before? I mean,
It was last year, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't really see it hardly at all in here.
yeah. If anything, he should have been nominated for The Rock, or Dwayne Johnson should have been nominated as an actor, because finally, for once, he wasn't playing Dwayne Johnson. He actually, like I said, like all actors. When I think of actors, that's what I think of, the ones that disappear into the role, whether they lose weight, gain weight, or completely change their appearance for this role. And you don't like what was his name? We saw him at Comic-Con, the Penguin, Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
I had no idea that was Colin Farrell. I thought it was a completely different actor when I saw the Penguin. I was like, wait, where's Colin Farrell? Until they said, well, he's the Penguin. Like, what? Really? That's acting. When you become that and you're still portraying a perfect character, that's acting right there. When we talked about Denzel and basically he's Denzel and everything. Tom Hanks, my favorite actor, he's Tom Hanks and everything. So that's what I wanted to bring up. I know we're not doing it live here, but a lot of you on our social media, you guys answer. I've seen it. You've been saying it, talking amongst yourselves. Is that the case? Is it just a generational thing that it is time? It is your time, Shanclen. I know you've been wanting to make movies. It is time for you to get out there and start making those movies, because the audience is there. They're waiting.
I know. So just kind of while you were speaking right there, it's very interesting because Dwayne Johnson actually, for the movie The Smashing Machine that came out last year, won an award overseas. I believe it was France or Italy, somewhere. They have like an award show over there. He won over there. And same thing with Brendan Fraser. He won over there too, and it was more so of a ceremonial type thing, a little bit more, I guess you can say, respectful compared to the Oscars. And so Smashing Machine was nominated for best makeup and hairstyling, but nothing for Dwayne Johnson. And I'm like, damn, man, that he was very proud of the movie and everything, but like, it just kind of goes to show, like how you said, the quality of movies that are coming out. If there was honestly really no big competition when it came against Sinners and stuff. So,
do you have that international list in front of you?
Let me.
Because I was about to ask you, how did they treat Sinners? Did they give Sinners anything? How did they treat the battle movie?
So Dwayne Johnson's movie, The Smashing Machine, won an award, and it was actually premiered over at the Venice Film Festival over there. And after the movie was finished, he received a 15-minute standing ovation. 15 minutes.
And not even a nomination at the Academy.
I mean, like, I just don't know. Like, for me, when you mentioned and you brought up the Saturn Awards about how they're giving awards for our movies,
yeah,
I really do feel like the Oscars are getting really dated, because it's not really mixing well with the times, and it kind of just feels like a really bad pun, I guess. And then everyone's kind of worried about another Will Smith incident, to where I'm pretty sure people were thinking when Sigourney Weaver said, "Get away from her, you bitch," they were thinking like, oh shit, another Will Smith is gonna happen tonight. And yeah, I don't know if it's just like, okay, 100 years, you guys just need to stop.
Well, I mean, like I was saying, on that in the Venice Film Festival, did they nominate or give anything to Sinners?
I don't think so. Let me see.
And what about the battle movie? What is it? The One Battle After Another. Did they give it anything? Because that came out in September, I think, of last year. One Battle After Another.
So the Venice Film Festival, Sinners received a critical acclaim, with early reports highlighting that a strong contender for the outstanding performance by a cast in a motion picture. So that was back in September, yeah. So they got that.
Early, does it say the date? Was it early September or late September?
It just says September 2025.
Because I know One Battle After Another came out in theaters at the end, like September 20th, the last weekend in September. So maybe it wasn't nominated because they didn't hear about it yet. Or maybe they did, and they didn't think it was that good.
It actually skipped the Venice Film Festival entirely. So instead, the film had its world premiere at the TLC Chinese Theater in Los Angeles on September 8, 2025. So it totally skipped it. But pretty much all the other awards during the Venice Film Festival were for it favored Father, Mother, Sister, Brother, and the Frankenstein movie.
It sounded very native. Mother, brother, uncle,
sister, uncle, cousin, nephew.
Yeah. But I think that you're right. That is a better word. Dated. It did feel dated. You mentioned this is twice now. You mentioned the Will Smith thing, the slap. That was needed, honestly, because and everybody knows this. You don't try to deny it and change history. The Oscars weren't being watched at that point. Nobody was watching the Oscars. Nobody cared about the Oscars. That slap gave him a reason to watch the Oscars again. And now you have someone like Conan, who's an actual host, and he I don't know if you watched his monologue. That one was kind of awkward too. I mean, I laughed. I got some of the jokes, but some of them were like, "Do we laugh? Or is this okay to laugh?" I mean, and that shows the club, the inner workings of Hollywood. These actors, they don't, all the stuff that they put on their social media that I care about. They don't care about that. They only care about it because the casting directors or directors tell them to care about that. Otherwise, you ain't getting an award and you're not going to be in my movies. That's the only reason why they care about that stuff. If you ever really see them in a restaurant anywhere and you get a chance to talk to them and you ask them about the state of world affairs, they have no clue what the hell is going on because they're learning their script, their lines, whatever they're working on next. They're taking calls from so and so and from this one. I gotta get this commercial done. Whatever. They have a life. They have a career. They don't like most normal people. They don't have time to involve themselves in things that are happening in the world because, as you and I have said before, what are you gonna do about it? You ain't gonna change it.
They're too busy to meddle with meager human issues.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. That's something I wanted to bring up here on the Geek Speak show, and I don't know if you remember them. Spike TV had the Spike TV Awards. Those were that actually was more fun than the Saturn. The Saturn Awards gives it to our movies, like I said. But the Spike TV Awards, if everybody remembers those, we used to talk about them here on the Geek Speak show. They gave not only the best movie, but they also did sort of like we do the WTF award for the worst movie on the Geek Speak Award show. That kind of came from Spike TV. They didn't call it that, but it was similar to that, like worst acting or something like that. They also gave it to best kiss, best explosion, best best villain, best kill, all stuff that we actually care about when we go watch the movies. I don't know what happened to the Spike TV or the Spike TV Awards, but somebody's got to bring those back.
I would imagine that a major TV network bought them out just because they were competition and never did it again.
Yeah. Now, you and I are going to talk about this privately because if we do it on the show, people will steal this idea. But you do represent the younger, more creative generation. How would you update the Oscars? Don't answer. We'll do that privately. Yeah, you don't get the answer that easy. If you want it from Shanclen, you got to pay him. Go to his channels. In fact, where do they go to your channels to watch you and everything you do?
So you guys can go ahead and go to both my YouTube channels. First one is Shanclen Shadow Productions, and the other one is Shanclen Shadow Lodge. And then also I have a link tree that Henry will probably be posting that goes to all my social medias on there. I got some ghost hunting paranormal events coming up, so if you guys want to go investigate with me, buy your tickets now, and I'll see you guys there.
Now, I will say this, and Shanclen didn't ask me to say this, but I'm going to tell you guys, because a lot of you won't say it to Shanclen, because you'll see next week when he's here when we're all at WonderCon, we'll be walking around a lot because we're not going to do a lot of media interviews, but we'll be at your tables, your booths, so you'll see us. He can look pretty scary, pretty intimidating. He's like 10 feet tall, like 6'5", but you know what I mean. Compared to most normal people, he's pretty tall. He looks intimidating, looks scary, and then when you watch his on the other channel, on the paranormal channel, he talks about I'm battling demons, and demons came out, and when you do investigation, when you go to these events, no demons will come out, no demons will be summoned, you will not be possessed, none of that will happen, right?
Hopefully.
You're supposed to say no, it's not. You want people to buy tickets and go there.
You know what? I'll say no, it will not happen because I'll make sure everyone is safe and protected because we are here for an experience of how I communicate with spirits, and you guys are going to join my realm. Oh.
Then you wonder why people are hesitant to buy tickets. You tell them, I don't know, you might get possessed. No, tell them no, you won't get possessed.
I mean, that's the whole point of this whole thing.
Not for the Geek Speak audience. They want the jump scare. They don't want to be part of the kill count. But yeah, everything is on the. I'll put up his link tree. I'll put up. He mentioned it. Not the whole house, but a pretty good portion of their house did catch fire, unfortunately. So they're asking as if you can for help, and they'll have that up also on there. You can lend a hand to Shanclen, and you will get something back, a very good feeling and some positive energy going your way. So you can't beat that. But as for us, next week, like I said, is a warm up to WonderCon episode. As always, David Glanza will kick those off, and you're going to hear from some one returning person, but then a lot of new people that you should go to their booth, and well, you'll see next week. And hopefully Emily has a voice. Shanclen will be there. I'll be there. We'll see you. We're not going to be doing too much. We're going to be walking around a lot more this year. So come and say hi to us. Yes, I know he looks intimidating, looks tall. He is very, very friendly, very, very nerdy. Talk to him. You'll find out why we call him the Nerdy Navajo. Until then, come back next week, and we will speak more geek.
While you wait for the next episode, you can follow the show on Instagram @GeekC, at The Geek Speak Show on TikTok and Facebook. Subscribe to the show on YouTube at Geek Speak Videos. That's where you'll find all event coverage and the new Geek Speak video show. Henry, Emily, and Shanclen will return in Avengers Doomsday. But until then, you can also hear them next week right here on the Geek Speak Show.